Hello everybody, my name is Patrick Keynes and in this presentation I explain, educate and teach the artistry changes for the cycle 2025 to 2028. Together with coach and choreographer Damon Jones, we have put together a presentation which can be used for educating judges, coaches and gymnasts when it concerns artistry for beam and floor. Before we start, I would like, on behalf of the WAG committee and myself, pay respect to the gymnasts who are shown in the pictures and videos in this presentation. We are not criticizing any of the gymnasts on a personal level because we know that everyone did their utmost best. We want to learn from the gymnasts by discussing what was executed well or what could have been done different in the examples shown. A big thank you to all the gymnasts shown in this presentation. We appreciate that we can learn from you. Also, this cycle will work with an artistry checklist for beam and floor. If the execution of a certain box is good, acceptable, there is no deduction. When the execution is not good enough, we apply 0-1. When the execution is weak or poor, we apply 0-2. There is also a possibility to deduct 0-3, which will be explained in the specific box where it applies. In the beam checklist, we see that now, in the first box, body posture, a judge has also the possibility to deduct 0-2 next to the already existing 0 and 0-1 deduction. The box insufficient amplitude of movements was maybe better known as the box elongation. In this presentation you will learn that elongation is actually an aspect of amplitude of movements and not a box on its own. Therefore, from now on, we will not speak any longer of elongation, but of amplitude of movements. When elongation is mentioned, we now all know that with elongation we are talking about a part or an aspect of amplitude of movements. We will also learn what other aspects can be part of the box amplitude of movement, so judges can adequately judge this box mentioned on the checklist as insufficient amplitude of the movements. The box insufficient variation in rhythm and tempo is now put together with the box disconnected element and movements. Lack of fluency. We will later explain how to judge this. On the floor checklist, we also see the possibility to deduct 2/10 for body posture next to the already existing 1/10. Also here we talk from now on of the box insufficient amplitude of the movements instead of elongation. And I repeat it once more, elongation is or can be an aspect of amplitude of movements. In the section Artistic Performance, we have from now on also the box insufficient complexity of the movements. In this presentation you will learn how to judge the difficulty level of choreographic movements. The box about poor choreography in the corner and missing movement touching the floor is part of the composition section. There will be a separate presentation about the section musicality, so we will not talk too much about it in this presentation. In this presentation we focus mainly, but not only, on the artistic performance boxes. Except from the beam box, poor work and releve, all these boxes should be judged throughout the routine. Which means that at the end of the routine you have to have the impression that the gymnast has shown enough of what is required in each specific box. It doesn't mean that when the gymnast at 1 or 2 points in the routine doesn't show what is required, she has the deduction right away. But you need to have the idea that when the routine is finished, that you have seen enough of what was required in that specific box. That is what we need to judge. The best way to explain a good body posture is to look at the picture on the right. We can recognize a good body posture by the following ingredients. The stomach is in, the rib cage is lifted and is in front of the stomach. The shoulders are down, the gymnast has a long neck, and the head is neutral as an extension of the spine. Some gymnasts like to lift the head slightly, which is also fine. We can also look at it differently in order to make it more clear. We can look at 4 requirements. Up, down, out, in. Up from head up, down from shoulders down, out from ribcage out, and in from stomach in. Up, down, out, in. It can be a tool to remember it better. Please know that when we say head up, it can also be that the head is neutral as an extension of the spine. We need to ask ourselves the question, does the gymnast use the principles up, down, out, in to create a stand-up tall idea? Or to create a taller, longer body line? Let's have a look at the body posture in these pictures. Let's first look at the picture on the left and screen the body from top to bottom with the principles up, down, out, in. We can see right away that the head is tilted down instead of lifted up. Or, we said already before, the head can also be neutral as an extension of the spine. Shoulders down is okay. The rib cage can be lifted more, and also the stomach can be pulled more in. Now let's have a look at the picture on the right. We see here a different quality of body posture. The head is more neutral. The shoulders could be more down in this version of body posture. The rib cage out or lifted is much better here than in the left picture. And also the stomach in is better here. Although I think she could pull the stomach a little bit more in. Now let's have a look at the 3 pictures in this slide. When we see this gymnast, we see on the picture on the left, right away when we go from the principles up, down, out, in, that there are principles missing. The head is not really lifted, the chest is not up, the stomach is not in. The shoulders are down, that is correct. Then in the middle picture, again, we see the head could be lifted more, the shoulders could be down more, the chest could be lifted more, the rib cage could be lifted more or out more, and the stomach could be pulled more in. And also we see almost the same in the picture on the right. Head could be more lifted, shoulders down is okay, chest or rib cage could be lifted more, and the stomach could be pulled more in. So this would qualify for poor or weak body posture. In the next slide, you see a gymnast in a body posture. You decide if the body posture falls in the category A, good, acceptable, B, not good enough, or C, weak, poor. After 3 seconds, the right answer will appear, after which we will discuss the principles up, down, out, in, so you can have good Is the body posture you see in the picture A, good, acceptable, B, not good enough, or C, weak, poor. If we look at up, down, out, in, we see that the head is up or neutral, the shoulders are clearly down, the ribs are out or the rib cage is lifted, and the stomach is in. So this body posture qualifies as good. In this slide we see the same gymnast in two different pictures. First look at the picture on the left and decide if the body posture falls in the category good acceptable, not good enough, weak or poor. After 5 seconds you will get the answer. Then look right away at the picture on the right and do the same. After that we discuss up, down, out, in. When we look on the picture on the left, this body posture would fall in the category acceptable. When we look at up, down, out, in, we can see that the head is up or neutral as an extension of the spine, that the shoulders are down, that the rib cage is out and lifted, but that the stomach can be more in. So out of the 4 requirements she misses 1, so that means that she's in the category good and acceptable. If we look at the picture on the right, we can see that the head is not lifted, that the shoulders are not down, that the rib cage is not really out, but that is a little bit borderline, could be much better, and that the stomach is not really in, that could also be much better. So therefore this body posture would fall in the category not good enough. Again, we need to judge it throughout the routine. Now we are only studying 2 body posture pictures. Is the body posture you see in the picture A, good, acceptable, B, not good enough, or C, weak, poor? When we screen this body posture from top to bottom, we see that the head is up, that the shoulders are not down but lifted, that the rib cage is out, and that the stomach is in. So from the 4 requirements, this gymnast qualifies for 3, so this is a good body posture, because we saw in the previous slide that out of the 4 requirements you can still miss 1 requirement in order to qualify for a good body posture. In this slide we see also the same gymnast in 2 different pictures. First decide if this body posture on the left is good, acceptable, not good enough, weak or poor. After 5 seconds the right answer will appear. Then try right away to judge up, down, out, in for the picture on the left. Then do the same with the picture on the right after we will discuss the body postures. When we look at the picture on the left, we can see that the head is not up, that the shoulders are not down, that the chest or the rib cage is lifted but not really lifted, so it could be much better, so therefore it would be a borderline for me, and that the stomach is not really in. When we look at the picture on the right, we can see that that is much better. The head is up or neutral as an extension of the spine. The shoulders are borderline, could be more down. The chest or the rib cage is out and lifted, and the stomach is in. So that would qualify for an acceptable body posture. Let's look at the body posture in the picture and let's answer the following question. Would you agree that this body posture is a very good body posture? A. Yes. B. For me it's borderline. Or C. No, it's very poor. The right answer, of course, is yes. When we look at up, down, out, in, we can see that the head is up or neutral as an extension of the spine, that the shoulders are down, that the rib cage is lifted or out, and that the stomach is in. So this is very good learning material for us to see what is a very good or an excellent body posture. When we look at the gymnast in the picture, I would like you to screen the body posture from top to bottom for the principles up, down, out, in. I would like you to answer the following question. Although we are looking at an excellent gymnast, what could this gymnast do better? A. Lift the head a little bit more to create a longer neckline. B. Lift the head and rib cage more to create a longer body line. Or C. Push her shoulders more down. Or D. Lift the head and rib cage more and at the same time pull the stomach more in. The right answer is answer D. When we look at up, down, out, in, we can see that the head could be up a little bit more. The shoulders are down, that is okay. The rib cage can be more out or lifted. The stomach can be pulled more in. Altogether, we are not looking at a great body posture, and I say this with all respect for the gymnast because I know she's an excellent gymnast. But when we compare this body posture, for example, with the gymnast in the last slide, then we can see a clear difference in creating a stand-up tall idea. Because there is a clear difference in body posture, there should also be a clear difference in deduction. The gymnast on the last slide should get 0 deduction, and the gymnast on the left should at least get 0.1 deduction for body posture. In the next slides, you see some videos of beam routine so you can practice judging the body posture throughout the routine. In the slide after the beam routine, a question appears and you need to decide if the body posture throughout the routine was in the category good, acceptable, or not good enough, or weak, poor. The right answer was C, And when we analyze this body posture from the principles up, down, out, in, then we could see that all the components were not really there. The head was not lifted, the shoulders were not down, the rib cage was not out or lifted, and the stomach was not pulled in. So this body posture would fall in the category weak, poor. The right answer is A. This body posture is good. When we analyze up, down, out, in, then we can see that the head is lifted up, that the shoulders are down, that the rib cage is out or lifted, and that the stomach is pulled in. This gymnast creates an excellent stand-up tall idea. The right answer is C, weak, poor. When we analyze this body posture from the principles up, down, out, in, then we could see that all the components were not really there. That the head was not lifted, that the shoulders were not down, the rib cage was not out or lifted, and the stomach was not pulled in. So this body posture would fall in the category weak, poor. The right answer is answer B, not good enough. Also here with this gymnast we can see that everything she does is not bad, but it's also not great. And when we analyze the categories up, down, out, in, then everything is just not good enough, I would say. Everything is borderline, so the head up is not bad, the shoulders down are not bad, the rib cage out is not bad, the stomach in is not bad, but it also could have been done better. The next box on the checklist is insufficient amplitude of movements. When we define this box, we can say the following. When a movement has amplitude, it is performed with qualities such as elongation, power, strength, accents and/or large movements and steps. So here we can also see, like we mentioned before in this presentation, that elongation is an aspect or a part of amplitude of the movements, but that this box also contains other aspects. The best way to explain elongation is to first look at a simple pose like in the picture on the left. When we break it down, the gymnast stands in a tendu with one arm up and one arm in front of the body. We see that the body posture is acceptable, but there is no elongation. In order to add elongation, the gymnast pushes her left arm further forward and pulls her stomach muscles more in. At the same time, she pushes her left shoulder down and lifts her chin. Because she pushes her left arm forward as far as possible, she rotates the trunk and pushes her right arm to the back. In this way, she makes this pose as big as possible, and there is your elongation or amplitude. In the next 3 slides, I ask you to look at elongation and body posture and answer the question with the possible answers. The right answer will appear after about 25 seconds, so you have enough time to read carefully through the question and look at the picture. No, this is not an elongated pose, therefore the gymnast would have pushed her right arm further to the side. It is a good body posture, but it is not elongated. No, this is not an elongated pose, because if it would have been elongated, she would have moved the trunk more over to the left in order to reach out with her left arm to the side as far as possible. Yes, this is an elongated pose as the gymnast reaches out with her left arm as far to the front as possible. She even rotates her trunk a little in order to make the pose as big as possible. Other aspects of amplitude of movements can be moving with power and strength, using strong accents, large movements and steps. In the next example, you will see a part of two floor routines, both performed in the tango style. Try to see the difference in the power of movements, the strength of movements, the use of strong sharp accents, and try to see if the gymnast moves with large steps and traveling patterns or that her movements and steps are small. After you have observed the routines, we will review them. When we look at the first gymnast, we can see that her movements are not really powerful or have a lot of strength to them. She also moves quite small, which you can see, for example, when she moves out of the corner after the first line with 3 steps. She could make those steps much bigger, or when I say it differently, her traveling pattern could be much larger. So this gymnast could move bigger, sharper, stronger, and use bigger steps. She also could elongate more. When we look at the second gymnast, we see much bigger movements and much stronger accents, which also fits the energy of the music better. Also, her steps are bigger, which gives her choreography a much more dynamic feel to it. When we look further than gymnastics and analyze the difference between a professional dancer and a dancer who does dance as a hobby, we normally see that the professional dancer is moving stronger, sharper, and bigger in combination with moving with larger steps. So these aspects are for us to look for when we judge the box insufficient amplitude of the movements.
Straseva can perhaps win the all-around. She would need a perfect 10 to do that. Maybe tie for the lead. She would need a 9.975 to do that. Well, from an American perspective, move ahead of Sabrina Marr. She would need a 9.75 to do that.
And she's certainly capable of that. Once again, we point out her strength, her great flexibility. Double front handspring to a double front. Rarely ever seen in gymnastics, top gymnastics. Usually we see a lot of back handsprings, but to do front handsprings like that is almost unheard of. Not many doing it.
Now, the way the judging has gone today, a 9.75 would mean a pretty major mistake, and the Soviet gymnasts just don't frequently make mistakes like that.
First or second tumbling run, whip over, double tuck. Oh, there's a slight break there. Just a little jarring movement after her double back. I want to mention she's also playing it a little bit safe on that second tumbling run. She does have a full-in double back. Let's see if she puts it at the end. Quite a long pause there. Full-in double back. She does do it at the very end.
Involvement of the body parts. What does this all mean? First of all, it is a box which involves body parts throughout the routine. So we have to judge it throughout the routine. Now, choreography and movement where we're just moving arms is not good enough any longer. You need to show that you are using also trunk, ribs, hips, shoulder, head. So you need to use more body parts than just arms. Think of body waves, flat back, contractions, hip and shoulder movements, head movements, etc., etc. You cannot just show it in one moment of the routine, but you need to show it at more places. When you do show it in one moment of the routine, you need to clearly do this for a longer piece or sequence of choreography. In the last slides, we have seen several options of what the gymnast can use in order to move more body parts. Of course, there are more possibilities than the example shown, but it is just to give you an idea of what it could look like. Now, in the next 4 slides, you see a floor routine, and in each floor routine is written what kind of movement the gymnast performs. For example, contraction, body wave, shoulder movement, back bend, etc. In this way, you become really aware of the implementation of moving body parts. The word relevé, as we use it in gymnastics, is a position, which we will see in the next slides. The official name for this position in classical ballet terminology is not relevé, but demi-pointe. When the dancer goes from straight legs to high on the toes, it is officially called, in ballet terms, élevé. When the dancer goes high on the toes from plié, then, in ballet terms, it is a relevé. As literally translated, it means to relift. So relevé is actually a verb, but in gymnastics, we use it as a terminology for a position. Position high on the toes. So let's make the agreement that in gymnastics we use relevé for a position A relevé in gymnastics is considered a relevé when the gymnast stands high on the toes on 2 feet, when 1 foot in front is in relevé, when 1 foot in the back is on relevé, or when a foot is curled. And not considered a relevé is tendu forward, tendu backward, or tendu sideways. When judging relevés or feetwork, we need to take the following into account. When you do a relevé, it needs to be extended. A pirouette on relevé is an element from the code and therefore falls under body shape and not under artistry. Turns not from the code on relevé need to be extended. Also, if you do a half turn, in tuxit or in stand on the beam, they need to be extended. No relevé is no deduction. Feet need to be pointed when lifted off the beam or off the floor. Also take in account that there is a difference between choreography with intentionally flexed feet and feet relaxed and not pointed. So it doesn't mean that you cannot do a choreography piece or move in with a flexed foot, but I think we can clearly see the difference when it's intentionally flexed or when it's just a relaxed foot. When we judge a beam routine and we need to judge the box, pole work in relevé, we do not only judge the relevé in a pose or in a choreographic move, but we also need to look for the turns that are not from the code. Very often, the gymnast performs a half turn at the end of the beam in order to change direction. For example, turning on 2 feet in a high relevé, or turning on 2 feet in a tuxit. We also see very often a normal half pirouette or a fouetté turn. All these turns are not from the code and therefore it is choreography, and the relevé performed in these half turns also need to be judged in the box pole work in relevé. In the next slides, we see a few examples of feet work, so focus on the feet and see if you would deduct for this or you would not deduct for this. After each video, there appears a question with possible answers, and you need to pick the right answer. And after When judging leg swings, we need to take the following rules into account. Forward leg swings or leg swings sideways need to be with the foot at head height. Needle kicks need to be 180 degrees. We see a lot of needle kicks when gymnasts, for example, stand up from a sit position on the beam to a stand position. These needle kicks need to be 180 degrees. An arabesque swing, which is a straight leg to the back, needs to be above the hip. When it is a ring swing, the same rules as ring jumps or ring leaps apply. Leg swings under horizontal are not considered leg swings. When a leg swing is used as preparation into an element, it is also not considered a leg swing. In the next video, you see an example of leg swing, and after that a question appears which you need to answer, or where you need to pick the right answer. And after 20 seconds the right answer appears. When judging this box, it is important to take into account that the choreography and elements performed are seamless connected. When it is done well, we see a flowing connection between elements and choreography. Every time the gymnast stops, because whatever reason, The next artistic performance box is insufficient complexity of movements. Complexity of movements represents well-trained choreography with large movements involving many body parts, levels, and movements that stand out as difficult and unique. In the next slide, we will discuss and explain what this means. Let's look at some examples of difficult choreographic movements. Fast coordinative arm movements, choreography touching the floor for which you can clearly see the gymnast needs to train in order to perform this well, movements with lots of body waves, head releases, high leg swing, changes of directions and or levels, steps with large moving patterns in combination with direction changes, body waves, leg swings, etc. All the above, separate or in variation, are difficult moves for which you need to train in order to perform it well. We need to understand that nowadays we are looking for a balance of 3 ingredients: acrobatic series, dance elements, and well-executed choreography. Missing one of the ingredients means the gymnast is not performing a complete floor routine. In the next 3 slides, you see some cutouts from floor routines as examples of complex choreography. Please read the text first of each video, after which the video will start As we need to judge the box insufficient complexity of the movements throughout the exercise, let's look and review a full routine. The routine starts right away with a lot of movements in a very short time. Then towards the corner there is less complexity. We can recognize complexity when there are a lot of difficult, different movements, level changes and body waves in a very short time. Also here, a lot of movements following the energy of the music Also here complexity on the floor choreography, a lot of difficult, different movements in a very short time, with level changes and direction changes. Gymnast goes to the corner here with less difficult movements or less complex movement. You can also see she slows down a little bit in the movements. And also here after the last line, there is not a lot happening anymore in the choreography. It all slows down a little bit, less fast, less complex. So throughout the routine, for sure, she qualifies for the box complexity in the movements. In the beginning of the routine, there was a lot of complexity, and at the end, it was a little bit less. But overall, very complex choreography. As we said before, in this presentation we focus on the artistic performance boxes. However, because there is a change in the box for expressive engagement according to the style of music, I would like to discuss this box a little bit, because there are some tools which we discussed last cycle, which you still can use today in order to judge this box. But again, there will be a separate presentation about the section musicality, which will discuss this topic in more detail. The change in this box is that it is now part of musicality, and that in this box you can apply 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 or 0, 3 deduction. A performer can only play 4 emotions: happy, angry, sad, and fear. A performer could be an actor, singer, or a dancer, or in our case, a gymnast. When a performer rehearses a performance, the question can be asked what emotion is right for which piece of music, text, song, movement, or in our case, choreography. If the music is happy, we want to see happy poses or happy movements. If the music is sad, we want to see the sadness back in the movements and facial expression. So an emotion is a layer which you put over a movement, text, song, or again, in our case, choreography. This layer of emotion changes the way the performer looks out of her eyes and how the performer executes the movements. Emotional involvement shown in the face is facial expression. Emotional involvement shown in the movement is body language. Let's talk about an example to make it more clear. Let's say the choreography is walking. Just simple walking. If we tell the story walking on a funeral, which is a sad event, the performer shows emotion sad in her face, and the sadness changes the way the performer walks. The walking will be performed with a different energy. Now imagine the story we tell is walking on a wedding. The emotion will be happy because everybody is in a good mood and is having fun. The way the performer walks looks different now because it is performed with the emotion happy. Also, the facial expression will be happy because it reflects on being in a good mood. So body language means emotion of the music translated to choreography, and playing a character changes the way the choreography is performed. In the next slides, you will first see a floor routine where there is body language, but not enough facial expression. And in the second and third video, you see a great example of a combination between body language and facial expression shown.
La